So I am the daughter of a Syrian doctor, which normally, not to brag, not that Syrian's a brag, especially right now. But anyway, he's a doctor, and he is, I've got a lot of things from him. I got his personality, I got a sense of humor, and I got two things that are very inherently Syrian. One, we turn on a dime. Like, we just have an opinion, and then it's ours forever, and then all of a sudden we have the exact opposite opinion, and there's no rhyme or reason. I do that all the time. And two, I inherited periodontal cysts, which is a Arabic thing where it's a cyst that you get basically on your ass. There's no easy way to say it. It's not like in your ass, but it's like right like where your tailbone is. So those are the two big things that I've inherited from my father. So I say that because the periodontal cyst is aggravated by stress. I have a very stressful job. I am in traffic, all these things, I stress, and it doesn't bother me. But whenever it's a life decision, and it's something that I've inherently believed for a long time, and then it changes, then I stress out, then I get this periodontal cyst. So I was with my boyfriend for 12 years, and I was like, I don't want to get married, fuck marriage, marriage is for losers. And then all of a sudden I was like, why don't you want to marry me? Life is a nightmare, I'm unmarriable, like overnight. And Jenny was like, well, I didn't think you liked it. I was like, don't tell me what to do, don't tell me what to think, you don't own me, marry me or get the fuck out. So while that was going on, of course, because of my stress, because I don't know who I am anymore, I got the periodontal cyst. So my dad is the head of hematology oncology at UCLA, which, again, not to brag, but he basically is like the head of a department. He knows all the heads of departments. So I called him and I was like, I think I have this thing. He's like, don't worry about it, it's nothing. And then, like a Syrian, one day he was like, you need to get this taken care of immediately. You're probably gonna die. Why haven't you taken care of it before? So I was like, okay, well, I'll make an appointment. He's like, no, you need to go in today. And I was like, well, I've had it for a month. He's like, you need to get it taken care of like yesterday. I'm gonna call someone, I'll make some calls, you'll see somebody. And I was like, all right, whatever. So he takes me to the head of, like the surgical resident of UCLA. UCLA is a pretty big hospital. This is like the head bro. Like he's like the guy that like operates on everybody. And he's looking at this cyst on my ass, which frankly, I could have probably taken care of myself. But my dad made some calls and he was very adamant about it. So I went in. The guy was so busy that he didn't have any time to see me. So he had to see me on his lunch break. And he didn't have a surgical suite or anything, nor did he have his office because he had actual real patients with actual real problems like lung cancer and heart disease, but he had to take time out of his fucking schedule to see my ass. So we go into this big, this big conference room at UCLA with this big, beautiful mahogany desk. And he's like, all right, well, just, take your pants off. So I dropped my pants and he was like, whoa, you don't have to drop your pants that much, that's crazy. So now I'm like, oh, sorry, that's so weird. So I pull up my pants and he's like, you can just pull them down a little bit. And I was like, all right, whatever. So I'm like pulling my pants down a little bit and he takes the syringe and lances my cyst. Again, it's not great, but it's fine. It takes him 30 seconds of his life. He'll never think about it again. I will only think about it for the rest of my life. So meanwhile, while he does it, I just start crying. I'm like, I'm unmarriable. I'm never gonna get married. There's no world in which, now my boyfriend at the time had to stuff cotton into my cyst because I couldn't, it's like right here, so you can't get to it yourself. So now I was like, well, now I'm definitely never getting married. Spoiler alert, we did get married, it was fine. He picked up what I was laying down, so it was fine. But I never wanted kids. I was like, I don't want kids. Kids are assholes. Kids are so lame. And then 3 months ago, I was like, why don't we have a kid? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you trying to tell me what to do with my body? And he's like, I thought you didn't want kids. And I was like, I very much want kids. Don't tell me what to do. So I call my dad because, of course, when I'm thinking about how I'm never going to have children, the cyst comes back. So I was like, that thing is back. And he's like, don't worry about it. And then a month and a half later, he's like, why didn't you tell me sooner? What's wrong with you? You're probably going to die. And I was like, I told you a month ago. And he was like, well, I'm going to make some calls. And I was like, please do me a favor. Don't call that guy. Because I can't live with myself. I would rather jump out of the 16-story window in the beautiful conference room with the mahogany desk than see that guy again. And he was like, all right, I won't call that guy, I'll call somebody else. So he calls the head of surgical research, which is so much more embarrassing because this guy is like the guy that's responsible for all medical advances in California. He's the head of research at fucking UCLA, so he calls that guy. And he doesn't have any time, so he crams me and I have to get there at 7:30 in the morning, and I was like, I'm never gonna have kids, this is a nightmare. And so he is very, very sweet, and he is not as brash as the other guy, and he has a room, which is already leaps and bounds better than the last one. So he's like, all right, well, let's see the cyst. And I was like, it's really not that big of a deal. I probably shouldn't have called. And he's like, no, they can get pretty serious, so why don't you show it to me? And I was like, got it. So I pull my pants down a little bit. He's like, well, I can't see anything. And then I pull my pants down a little more. He's like, what's happening? And so I pull it a little bit more. And he's like, can you just remove your pants? Because I'm doing this strip tease of just like my ass crack to this guy. And I'm trying to be chill about it. And I was like, got any other plans today? And he was like, yeah, we're working on Alzheimer's research with rats, but I left that to come do this, so can you just remove your pants, please? And I was like, oh, this is probably like the second most interesting thing you're doing today. So finally, I take my pants off, I take off my jeans, but I keep my underwear on because I was like, no, in no world am I getting caught like fucking last guy where I just like drop trow for this poor fucking head researcher who's in his 60s. And he was like, so I pull down my pants and I wear, this is backstory, again, not to brag, I wear thongs. It's not because it's sexy, I hate underwear, I wear thongs. So I bring that up because I could see this guy's face. So I drop my jeans and I'm wearing a thong and he says, oh, would you remove, and he was gonna say your underwear, but then he saw the thong and then I saw him freak out and he just said, can you remove your panties? Which like was the worst thing to hear from a doctor. And this poor guy had nothing to do with it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't have children. And just removed my underwear. And this guy lanced my cyst again, and I left. Still don't have kids, but at least now I'm hoping those are like the only major things that I've decided on, that I've changed on, and I really don't want it to come back. Thank you.